Is this light a ghost? Is it trying to manifest? If you enjoy this type of analytical video, it is free to subscribe. And if you hit the bell icon, you'll be notified of all future uploads. What is this forest figure? As this lady is camped out in the woods, she's keeping her eyes out for anything that might be wandering around in the woods, and suddenly she's captured something. Who or what is that? Is this some unknown creature? Is it a human being playing a prank? Did the lady simply put on a disguise and go walk out there into the woods? Is in the moment that it looks like it's transparent, it's actually camouflaged? Is it a poor light quality of the camera? I believe something really is there. I'm just not convinced it's paranormal. Is there a ghost in this wheelchair? The camera is focused on an individual in the wheelchair being pushed down the street. Now, in a second here, we're going to see this individual stop the wheelchair and get up. So we can see they don't need the wheelchair. However, in a second, the lady actually has to go chase down the wheelchair because it started to roll away. So they may or may not know how to set the brakes on this wheelchair. But in the background, we can see it's still moving. So even though it was set in the dirt, it is scaring them now because it's moving apparently on its own. I think that's just gravity. And those little wheels in the front will cause it to turn sharply. So it doesn't really surprise me that it turns just because of the little wheels. So even though it is creepy, I don't think it's paranormal. Is this a ghost car? As this car comes rolling towards this gate, its lights are flashing and it doesn't look like there's anybody in the front seats, even though the steering wheel keeps turning. The guard comes out of the shack to try and figure out what's going on. The steering wheel is still turning. Then suddenly somebody is crawling on the trunk. It startles him, he falls, and immediately tries to get away. What is that thing crawling on the trunk and the roof of the car? So, that's a person that's on the trunk and the roof. No doubt the guard was startled, but I don't know if he's being pranked or if he's in on this. But I've seen enough Mythbusters to know how easy it is to remote control a car. So I just wonder if this person was sitting in the trunk of the car and just using a remote control to drive the car. I'm not convinced it's paranormal. I think it's more of a prank. Is this grandma dead or alive? As these men walk through this grass, they walk by an old house that might be abandoned. However, it appears there's an elderly lady standing in the doorway. Not only does she appear to be solid, she is casting a shadow. This one is odd to me because I feel like the cameraman is telling the actual story. He pans slowly by the first time, but then when he moves it back across, he's going so fast we can't tell if there's an image there or not. It just seems set up to me. So I don't know if it's a friend helping them, a mannequin, a blow-up doll, or what, but I'm not convinced it's paranormal. Did they capture a shadow person? We will see a shadow go behind her from right to left, but I think that's somebody else she's talking to that moved in front of a light source. So that shadow that goes behind her, again, I don't think that one is anything other than the people in front of her. But we will see another shadow go right to left. But again, I think it might be her shadow that time, or one of the other people's shadow. But I'm not sure because I don't know where everybody's standing. But it does look like they were standing on her left. Now they've moved over to her right. So she's continuing to talk to them. And then the camera will pan in such a way that they will capture something over her right shoulder. They believe that they've got something that has horns and a body. Yeah, I can see what they're talking about for horns, then you have the head, and then you have the body lower down. But I would really like to see what discolorations are in the wall, as well as what shadows can be cast in that area, to know for sure. What do you guys think on this one? Did they capture a shadow person? Let me know in the comments below. Is this lady in white a ghost? As these guys are driving down this dirt road, their headlights will suddenly pick up on a lady wearing a white dress. They stop their vehicle and they decide to get out of their vehicle. But she keeps disappearing on them. So obviously she's going to disappear if you turn your headlights off. And because of the cab lights, their eyes are not adjusted to the darkness, so that's going to cause them to lose her and not be able to see her. So we'll replay just this part where they drive up, and now we're zooming in so you can see her better. It's almost like a forced perspective thing of that's a tiny doll. But now they've gone night vision and with flashlights and their cameras, and they're trying to find her, but they can't find her. But then they see her next to the truck. So when they get closer to the truck, they have changed their light source again to where you can barely see anything. But then they'll suddenly catch something in the dark. How did the lady in white get so close to them? From the point when they decided to turn off those headlights, they lost me. Nothing makes sense. While they were wandering around with flashlights, she very easily could have just walked right up the road and stood by their truck. This just seems staged to me. Is this shadow person a ghost that is watching them? These guys are exploring an abandoned building, and he's just panning his flashlight around when he suddenly sees something in that window. It is a very dark shape. We now see what that glass looks like. It's broken glass, but it almost looks like a Bigfoot head. But behind that was a very dark shadow-like person. I don't know much about these explorers, but I appreciate the fact that they stopped right on that window and tried to figure out what was going on. This is one of those where I'm not sure if it's being staged, hoaxed, or it's a prank, but it might be real. And without being able to go there in person and debunk the whole area in person, I don't know for sure. What do you guys think on this one? Are these guys trustworthy? Can we trust this footage? Are these ghost orbs or insects? So suddenly lights start flying in front of this stationary camera, and they zoom around and change shape and are very distorted. I really think these are bugs that are flying, but you have a combination of too low of light levels for the camera and a problem with the shutter speed, and that's what's causing all of this trailing that you're seeing. So I think it's just bugs. What is this running creature? In this very grainy footage, we see a creature run from left to right. What is it? Could it be a wild boar? Could it be a wild lion? I singled out the boar and the lion because they have that mane, but some dogs also have kind of thicker fur around the head, so it could be a wolf, it could be a coyote. But I'm just not seeing the pointed ears of a wolf or a coyote, so that's why I don't know that that's a dog. But I'm thinking it's more likely going to be a known animal, not a cryptid or an unknown species. Is this the activity of a poltergeist? Apparently, this is a stationary camera inside of a laundry room / bathroom. Suddenly, the mirror door flies open, knocking something off onto the floor. Then on the right side, we will suddenly see something come close to that frosted door, and it appears that it's looking into this room. But what is that white blob? Is this a ghost? A prank? A human? It almost looks like a towel dangling off of a stick, like the broom handle or something of that nature. So I wonder if a string was used to open up that cabinet door, and then I wonder if a towel is being used, and that explains why there's no legs. I'm not convinced this one's paranormal. Whose face is in this window? Two guys are tossing a ball back and forth to each other while a third guy records it. But then the guy on the right suddenly sees something up in a window in a building and he points to it. The cameraman zooms in and he suddenly sees a face in the window that steps back away from the window. I don't know why people looking outdoors or looking out windows is immediately classified as paranormal. Even if these guys think that the school is empty or this building is empty, that doesn't mean that there's not a janitor working in there. So I'm not convinced that this is a ghost. I think it could just be a living human being who took a minute to look out the window, but then when he realized he was being watched by a camera, he decided to step back away from the window. I would do the same thing. Is this shadow person stalking this man? This man stands up and he'll close the window, then he'll turn off the light before opening the door, and we see a shadow person behind him just before the night vision camera kicked on. Now this man goes into his bedroom and he will do the same thing of turning off the light, and before the night vision kicks in, we see a shadow person. In both of these cases, because it's happening when it's switching from the day vision to night vision, I have to wonder if that's part of the problem, or that's what's being exploited. Now I feel like if you put transparent figure on the lens so that it would actually not be seen except for in this transitional stage, that could be what's happening, is simply something has been put on the lens to create this effect. If you're dealing with the same brand of camera, you're going to get probably the similar result that he's getting. So I do think this might be some type of camera trickery. I'm just not sure exactly how it's done. If you agree or disagree with my analysis, please leave a comment below. You will find links to social media platforms for this channel as well as for Jim Riley in the description below. Be safe and don't investigate alone. If you appreciate this type of analytical analysis, please subscribe. And remember, question everything. Thanks for watching Paranormal, True or False.